From the boxing ring to your podcast station, here are the three guys that talk nothing but boxing. Ricky, Enrique, and Juan!
Welcome back to another episode of Boxing Talk. I'm your host for today, Kike. Joining me is Ricky.
What's up, Kike? What's up, Boxing Talk?
What's up, Rick? No Juan today, guys. Had a last-minute emergency come up, so Juan will not be joining us today, but he should be back for the next episode. Compa, we have a lot of fights coming up this coming weekend. 5 fights that we have to preview, so we're going to mostly dedicate this episode to discussing those fights. We're not going to go too much into the news, but before we go into previewing those fights, compa, we can't forget about the fights that happened this last weekend. Some exciting fights at the cruiserweight division and also at the heavyweight division.
Papi, so when we do the previews, is this like an automatic 5 losses for Kike? For Pancho?
Yeah, it should be.
Right?
Yeah,
My,
so that'll give me a 6-point lead on him. So whoever the loser is, that's who his record goes towards. But man. Yeah, man, compa, I don't know if you got to catch this one. This fight happened at 2 a.m. in the morning our time, approximately about 5 a.m. To be honest, this time I didn't get to catch it, but I did watch the full replay on ESPN Plus. I saw it on demand. So that was the fight between Midas Briedis versus Jay Opataya. As we know, compa, shocker. Not so much a shocker for us because we ended up picking correctly, but I think shocker for the world because Midas Briedis was considered the number 1 cruiserweight in the world, former IBF champion. So as I'm sure you guys know by me speaking that way, Opataya does become the new IBF World Cruiserweight Champion and he wins via unanimous decision. It was a violent fight, compa. There was broken jaws, there was broken noses. Judges had the fight 8-4, 8-4, and 7-5 for Opataya. So very close fight. What did you think of the fight, compa?
It's like you said, compa, it was violent. I saw the streaming a little weird. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. It was just, it was different. It was a different kind of stream for that. But no, it was entertaining, and like you said, it was violent. And we chose correctly. So I enjoyed this fight. Now, compa, do you think he's a top cruiserweight?
That's my next question because, the beginning of the fight, Opataya was dominating. He was dominating, and then I think he got his jaw broken around the second round. And you could start telling because he kind of had his mouth open a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the jaw was hanging a bit. And then I think Opataya broke Briedis' nose like in the 4th round. But then Briedis from the 7th round on caught like a second win. I think
crazy,
he won the championship rounds. He won rounds 10, 11, and 12 for me. He was coming back, man. It was getting close, and he could have knocked Opataya out, but ultimately, overall, the fight, I think they gave the win to the right man. Opataya did what he needed to do. He showed that he could get through it with a broken nose. He showed what it takes to be a champion. He didn't complain. None. He kept fighting. Most guys would have quit, man. Most guys would. Fighting with a broken jaw. And I think Briedis hit him with a good shot in the 11th where it really re-aggravated his jaw. And that's when, I don't know if you saw, he was really with his mouth wide open.
And a good example of that, Victor Ortiz, when he broke his jaw the first time and he was scared to fight in his next bout, and he actually gave up in that fight. I forgot who he fought.
Exactly.
But you know what, Copa? I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch on this one because it was that exciting for me.
Yeah, this fight definitely justifies a rematch for me. But you know me, man. I want to see the champions take on the champions. To me, maybe call it premature, but I think Opataya is he took out the number 1 guy, so he now becomes the number 1 man.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are going to say he doesn't have experience. His only experience has been Briedis, but man, he took out arguably the best cruiserweight in the world. I mean, Briedis' only other loss has been to Usyk, and
Mm-hmm.
Usyk is currently a unified heavyweight champion. He was undisputed cruiserweight champion. So to have your only loss to Usyk and now to Opetaya, that says something. That means
Yeah.
Opetaya is going to be special. And we said it from the beginning when this fight first got announced that this was going to be one of Briedis' toughest fights, and it proved just that. I mean, with the
Mm-hmm.
broken nose, he was bleeding the whole rest of the fight. It was a good fight. Um, but yeah, man, he's got other champions there like Arsene Goulamirian, which I don't know what the hell is going on with Goulamirian's situation. He hasn't fought in like 2 years, but yeah, he's still the champion. I'm
That's
surprised
weird.
they haven't stripped him.
Yeah.
There's Lawrence Oakley, the big,
The
uh,
sauce.
the big British fighter, 6'5". And then you also got Ilunga Makabu, who's the WBC champ. So he's got those other champions he could go for. Or if not, if he wants to stay busy but still keep proving himself, I mean, there's uh, the new cruiserweight that entered that division and Sergey Kovalev. I mean, former champion right there. That's a good test for him. There's the Cuban fighter, Uniel Dorticos, but there's also Tabiso Mchunu who has fought some of these champs. So if he doesn't take on one of the champs, man, there's also top contenders. But what about Briedis, compa? Briedis, what's next for him? Do you think he's still a top guy, or you think he's
I
done?
I think he's still in the game, compa. Especially after like we just said, he showed heart, man. He showed heart, and
Yeah,
I'm not gonna discount him. I think
yeah,
he should take another. If it's not the rematch, like I would like to see, he should take on another just tune-up fight and try to get his bearings back and get
yeah.
back in there, man. But I don't think he should retire or anything.
Like we said, man, Briedis, to me, he was just too focused on getting that Jake Paul fight.
Yeah,
He was too
yeah.
focused on trolling Jake Paul. He was too focused on that. He wasn't focused at the task at hand. Had he fought the way he fought those championship rounds, yeah, he wins that
Oh
fight.
yeah,
But he started too late. Opetaya just looked good, though, man. He looked
yeah. He did.
very good. Good young man. Improves his record to 22-0, 17 KOs now. But man, was he tested, and man, he passed his biggest test. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he
I
did.
think the young man is ready. Uh, you know, I think he's ready to take on any of the champions. I think to me the most enticing fight is Opetaya versus Oakley.
Hmm.
I doubt it happens right away though, but one of the weaker champions, I think Makabu.
Makabu, yeah.
Opetaya versus Makabu.
When did he fight last? Do you remember?
He fought, I think, in January
Did he
against
really?
Mchunu. Yeah, he fought that rematch against Mchunu.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh, but we'll see,
That
man.
wouldn't be a bad fight right there.
Yeah, Makabu Opetaya. And then Briedis, hey, man, I think Briedis is still a top guy. He had an off night, and hell, Briedis should challenge for another title. If not the rematch against Opetaya, he's ready to challenge any of the other champions. So whoever Opetaya uh, does not take on next, that's who Briedis. Briedis can challenge Goulamirian, he can challenge Oakley or Makabu. So Briedis can very well be a champion again.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done. He is on the older side. He's in his late 30s, but I think he can be a champion again. But we'll see. We'll see. He really does need to get back to the drawing board and stop focusing on Jake Paul. But moving on to the next fight, man. Kind of a mismatch. We knew it was going to be a mismatch entering the weekend, but that mismatch was between Joe Joyce and Christian Hammer. Um, Joe Joyce won by fourth round TKO. Rick, he knocked down Hammer once in the third round, knocked him down 3 times in the
Yeah.
fourth to eventually win the fight. And he remains the WBC silver and the WBO international heavyweight champion. Guys, those are not the main belts, but those are secondary belts. He improves his record to 14-0, 13 KOs. Compa, let us know what you thought of Joyce's performance. How did he do for you in this short fight?
I think like you said, compa. I think it was pretty known that he was going to take this victory. Christian
Yeah,
Hammer, I didn't really know who he was, or
yeah.
what he had in his arsenal. But Joe Joyce obviously took care of business. I don't remember his ring walk. I don't know if he came out with that juggernaut
No, he
helmet.
didn't this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think Joe Joyce just took care of business like he was supposed to, like he was meant to, And Christian Hammer, well, he took the shitty end of that stick.
Was technically Joe Joyce's Alexander Uzyk's mandatory. Do you think he's ready for Usyk, or what would you like for him next?
Man, there's a lot. There's a lot of options for Joe Joyce. I don't know. I don't know if he's ready. To be honest, I would like to see him with somebody more competitive than.
Yeah, I'll tell you this right off the bat, Rick. He's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. Yeah, he won by knockout. That's impressive. But like you said, Christian Hammer.
Yeah.
Christian Hammer's a guy that gets thrown in there to lose against the elite guys. And even against a guy like Christian Hammer, Joe Joyce just got hit way too much. He got hit way too much. Now, if Joe Joyce was getting hit the same way he was getting hit against Hammer, imagine he gets hit like that against an Usyk or a Joshua or a Tyson Fury. There's no way he stands a chance. And compa, he still has not improved his speed. He's still slow as a freaking turtle.
He is.
He was getting hit way too much. So if he wants to contend or challenge, I should say, if he wants to challenge for a title, dude, you better improve that defense. Which at his age, you can't really teach an old dog new tricks, man. He's already 36 years old.
Yeah, he's older.
There's not much you're gonna change in that guy. He's already got his fighting style. But hey, he's technically Uzyk's mandatory, so that technically means he's supposed to take on the winner of Usyk Joshua 2. But like you said, there's multiple. There's so many. The heavyweight division is rich right now.
Yeah.
He's got guys like Martin Bakole. He could take the winner of Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz. The winner of the fight we're going to preview later, Chisora versus Pulev 2. He has Michael Hunter that's there, Joseph Parker, who was supposed to fight, but Parker pulled out last minute. He's got Dillian White, who that would be a good comeback fight for White since he just lost to Fury. He's got Deontay Wilder. That's a good comeback fight for Wilder too. Or like we said, he could take on the winner of Usyk Joshua 2. Or if Tyson Fury does come out of retirement, then Tyson Fury versus Joe Joyce. But
damn, I don't think, like you said, I don't think he's ready, man.
I don't think he's not ready for a title shot, so I would put him in there with if it was me, I'd put him in there with a Martin Bakole, a guy that just proved himself in beating, what was his name? He just beat Tony Yoka, the Frenchman. Nobody thought Bakole was going to win, so hey, why not throw him in there against Bakole? And Bakole's a big dude too. Bakole's also like 6'6", just like Joyce, so that would be an interesting fight.
Big boys.
But personally, yeah, Joyce to me is overrated as of right now, and he's not ready. He'd get smacked up by Fury or Joshua or Usyk or a lot of these heavyweights, man. Even with Ruiz, I've lost a lot of faith in Ruiz, but I think he'd even get smacked up by Ruiz.
Hey, Ruiz is looking pretty good.
He just gets hit. Yeah,
have you seen the videos of him?
Yeah,
he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's been getting into shape, man.
Yeah,
but we'll see. But yeah, guys, that's it for our fights this last weekend. We were all correct in our choices. We picked Joe Joyce to win by knockout, and then we also chose J.O. Pataya, which a lot of the boxing world was going for Midas Spiriadis as the favorite. But let's go into our news, Rick, and let us know. Let's go into the super lightweight division. Let us know what's going on in that news.
So Josh Taylor has opted to give up his WBC title ahead of a scheduled purse bid for a matchup against Jose Cepeda, as he will pursue to fight Jack Catterall in a rematch instead. The WBC has ordered Cepeda to face former champion Jose Ramirez in a rematch for the vacant belt. Wow.
What's your thoughts, Compa, on that?
Well, for Josh to do that, wow, he wants to remain competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that, because he worked so hard to gain those belts, and for him to just give them up. But at the same time, he has to do that because he wants the Catterall fight. Yeah. He wants to shut the public up. He wants to shut Catterall up because, we all know Catterall won that first fight.
And you know what?
So I think he wants to.
That speaks volumes on Josh Taylor, compa. Like, dude, the guy is there to fight. He is not scared to fight. Yeah.
But we'll see, compa, because this is just rumors. Yeah. We don't know yet. For all we know, he could be just saying this and blowing smoke. But, we'll see what actually happens because that's his plan. But if that's 2 belts he's vacated already. He vacated the WBO belt and now the WBC belt, which if he wants the Catterall fight, great. If not, then then he let it go for nothing. But hey, at least that gives Jose Chon Cepeda an opportunity to take on the rematch with Jose Ramirez. As we all know, Ramirez has been a champion before. Cepeda hasn't, but Cepeda has given Ramirez, when they fought the first time, he gave him a great fight. So that's a good fight for the WBC belt. Hopefully that fight gets made. I'd be willing to watch that rematch. But we'll see what's going to happen in the 140 division, because you also got another guy like Teofimo Lopez, who's joining the ranks in that division. And speaking on Lopez, he just an update, guys. He is going to be fighting Pedro Campo on August 13th, which is going to take place at the Resorts World in Las Vegas. So like we said, it's just an update. We already gave you guys the date. We gave you who he's fighting. Now it's just we finally got where he's going to be fighting at, and he's going to be fighting in Vegas. Top Rank originally was targeting Florida. So for those of us that live in California and you're a Teofimo Lopez fan, there you go. Vegas is right there. You could go watch Teofimo Lopez in Vegas. Personally, I'm over Teofimo Lopez, so I wouldn't pay to go watch him in Vegas.
Really, you're over him?
That's just me. I'll watch him, but dude, he's turned into a prima donna, man. Him and his dad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the last fight kind of sucked for him, but I'll watch him.
Yeah,
I'll watch him.
Yeah. I want to get your opinion on this because I know you're a fan of this guy. But you got lightweight contender Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's set to fight number 4 WBC and number 6 WBA ranked super featherweight. Now, keyword, compa, super featherweight, because this guy's a weight division below Pitbull Cruz. Eduardo Ramirez as part of the Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz undercard. So what are your thoughts that he's taking on a guy that's a weight division below, but also a guy that's not named Ryan Garcia?
So why would they do that? Is his dad trying to protect Pitbull? Like, he's getting traction right now. For him to do that, it's like, dude, what are you doing, Pitbull? You know?
And that's what we've been saying, compa. In reality, who was the one ducking who?
Yeah, exactly. You know this speaks volume.
Because Isaac Pitbull Cruz was at first making it seem like it was Ryan Garcia ducking him, and the truth has come out that at the end of the day, it was Pitbull Cruz ducking Ryan Garcia, man. I mean, how are you going to, we already had plans. Like, bro, how are you going to have plans to fight a guy a weight division below you? Yeah, he's ranked, don't get me wrong, but he's a weight division below you. Not only is he a weight division below you, but you chose to fight him instead of a megastar like Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
makes no sense, man. But we're still gonna watch it, right? We're still gonna watch Pitbull Cruz fight a guy. In all honesty, we don't know much about, but PBC does that, man. PBC puts fights against their own guys. They don't really go. I mean, even Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, they're both PBC fighters. So that's just what PBC does. I don't think they like doing business with any other promotions or networks. So
that's crazy how
that's just the way
people doing this is. I don't know. I think he's going to lose a lot of fans, like actual boxing fans, for this.
Yeah, we'll see. But compa, I know this guy was also one of your favorite fighters. You want to let us know?
Yeah, so Mikey Garcia posted on his Instagram, retired world champion, 126, 130, 135, and 140 pounds. Could this actually mean that he's retired for good? And you know how we always say, compa, these boxers do retire, quote unquote, but then they come back for the shmoney, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that Mikey likes,
because
he has an expensive taste, man. So se va a acabar el dinero and he's going to come back for more.
Well, if he is retired, good for him, man. Like he posted, he was a 4-division champ. Not many guys can say that. And have him live a good life. He had to this day a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, yes.
Is he serious about it though? I don't know, because he never officially came out with an official statement or anything like most fighters do, saying that they're retired. He never did like an interview saying he was retired. He never did a post saying he's retired. He just simply put that like on his bio and Instagram. You know what I mean? So I don't know, Copa. What do you think? Is he serious or is he messing with the public just to get them to talk
You know
about
what?
him?
I think he just wants to keep his name relevant. In all honesty, until he puts like a formal
Yeah,
retirement letter out there. For now, I'm gonna say he's not retired, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
we'll see. Like I said, I don't think he's retired. Um, but then again, it does seem like he's been enjoying his time away from boxing. Um, we'll see, man. Only time will tell. If he is retired, great. If he's not, hey, we want to see him back in the ring
Yeah.
too. But compa, this next news, this was mostly more so for Juan because he's into the YouTube
Juan's the one that
boxing,
included this note.
or for, yeah. But for those of you that are KSI fans, to this day I still don't know what KSI stands for, but I guess he's a British YouTuber. KSI will be facing another YouTuber by the name of Alex Wasabi. Here's the thing, compa, on a DAZN pay-per-view main
Really?
event. DAZN pay-per-view. Not just DAZN pay-per-view. So you're going to have to pay extra money to see this guy fight. This is where it's messed up, man. They charge pay-per-view for guys like this, but for actual boxers that grind their ass off to get to the big time, and they never even become pay-per-view
Man, that's
fighters.
crazy.
You know what I mean? But anyways, that's another topic, but just wanted to bring it up. KSI is fighting Alex Wasabi on a DAZN pay-per-view main event on August 27th at the O2 Arena in London, England. What are your thoughts on this?
And before we move forward on that, so KSI, the acronym starts for Knowledge, Strength, and Integrity. That's what KSI stands for.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what
because
his
his
name
actual
stands
name
for?
is JJ Olatunji.
See, I knew that much. I didn't know what the whole KSI stood for.
Este Juan was on my ear right now and told me, "Hey, tell him that it stands for this." No, just kidding. But I'm not a big fan of this, man. Is it entertainment for boxing? Does it bring boxing into the limelight? It does, but I'm just not a fan of it. No. Everybody that sees this, they're kids.
I think more so people are intrigued by this fight only because KSI has always been linked with Jake Paul.
Mm.
And then we all know KSI defeated Jake Paul's older brother, Logan Paul. So I think that's why people are excited because they want to see how KSI looks. This is his first comeback fight. I think he hasn't fought in like 2 years.
But you know what?
So he's coming back to fight, and then potentially Jake Paul.
But my thing with this is the DAZN pay-per-view. I can't believe DAZN is even entertaining this.
Exactly.
Like you're
like,
respectable.
Okay, if it was just a zone, okay, maybe, but pay-per-view, come on. That means not only are you paying the subscription price, but you're also paying extra. So it's like,
are you gonna watch it again,
man? Like, not even Ryan Garcia is pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Not even Triple G is pay-per-view. Right now, DAZN, the only fight they've done pay-per-view is Canelo. So you mean to tell me this motherfucker KSI is on Canelo's level to be pay-per-view?
So.
No mamas, dude. Like, it's crazy.
So.
But guess what? Guys like Juan are going to pay for it, so.
Yeah, he is.
If he was on here, he'd be like, that's cap, bruh. That's cap. No. But, all right, compa, like we said in the beginning of the episode, the main thing we're going to focus on is the previewing of the fights just because we have so many to cover. 5 fights, man. 5 fights going on. But I forgot to mention in the beginning, Rick, I always do this, man. If you guys want to give us a follow on Instagram. We do have a page on Instagram. It's at Boxing Talk Podcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's Boxing Talk Pod. And then we do have a YouTube channel. Just type in Boxing Talk. So if you want to be able to see the faces behind the voices, go on YouTube. And if you just an audio person, you can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any of your podcast platforms that you prefer. But going back to the show, guys, like we said, Rick, 5 fights. We haven't had 5 fights on a weekend in a little while. It's been kind of 1 fight here, 2 fights there, but 5 fights. So it's going to be a busy weekend. Let's start off with the fight that's going to be taking place in a different country, and unfortunately, it's not going to be televised. That's why we're mentioning it first. That fight's going to be between Magomed Kurbanov versus Patrick Teixeira. How many times has this fight gotten rescheduled? That's crazy, because this fight was originally going to happen in December. It got scratched because Kurbanov literally last minute, literally in the locker room, quit. He didn't walk out. They said he had a fever, so they canceled the fight. And then it got rescheduled for March, but then that's when Russia started war on Ukraine. So they canceled all fights that were taking place in Russia. But now it's taking place for this weekend, July 9th. Still in Russia. So I don't know if the fights are getting sanctioned now, if boxing lifted that. But this is a fight between two super welterweights. It's going to take place at the KRK Uralets arena, I guess, over there at Ekaterinburg, Russia. Like we said before, it's not televised. You got Magomed, the Black Lion Kurbanov. He's ranked number 8 in the WBC, so he's gotten dropped in the rankings. That could be due to his inactivity. He's 22-0 with 13 KOs. He's an orthodox fighter. He's 5'10", 26 years old, from Ekaterinburg, Russia, born in Dagestan, Russia. His last fight was against Liam Smith, which he won by unanimous decision back in May of 2021, which that was a very controversial win, some would say. So he's coming off a 14-month layoff. And yeah, his notable opponents are Liam Smith and now obviously Patrick Teixeira, who Teixeira has been a champion in the past, but he got that title taken away from Brian Castaño. You got Patrick Teixeira, who's ranked number 15 in the WBC. He's got 31 victories, 3 defeats, 22 knockouts. He's a southpaw. He's 6 foot, so pretty tall for a 154-pounder. 31 years old. He's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. His last fight was against Paul Valenzuela Cuesta, which he lost by second round disqualification. He lost because he was doing rabbit punches on the back of the guy's head, so they ended the fight, and it counts as a loss in his record. That was back in April of this year, so he's coming back from a 3-month layoff. His notable fighters, like we said earlier, was against Brian Castaño, which that's who he actually lost his title to. So, compa, break down this fight. What do you think of it? And let us know who you got.
You know what? I think, I know that Patrick Teixeira has a 3-month layoff, which is not bad. He's more fresh. But looking at the record, ranked number 8 for the WBC with Kurbanov, I think Kurbanov's going to take this one. He's going to take this victory. He's a younger guy. Yeah, Kurbanov. I'm going to go Kurbanov.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be a full 12? Oh, man, I'm not sure. It might be a later TKO, maybe. Yeah. What do you think about?
Yeah, we'll see, man. Like we said, Teixeira is going to be a good test for him, because Teixeira knows what it takes to be a champion. He's been a champion before. My only worry is, Kurbanov already got favored in Russia before against Smith. If you rewatch that fight, Smith, I wouldn't say he clearly won, but many can argue that Liam Smith won the fight. But because the fight took place in Russia, a lot of people, and not only that, compa, all the fucking judges were Russian. So he's in his hometown. All the judges were Russian. We can easily say the fight was given to Kurbanov. I don't know, honestly, who the judges are going to be in this one, but Kurbanov versus Teixeira, I wouldn't mind Teixeira winning, but I'm going to have to go Kurbanov as well. Let's hope that ring rust doesn't affect him.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing.
And I think, Juan had mentioned that he was going Kurbanov as well. So we all agree on that one. Compa, break down this next fight for us that's going to be taking place in the UK.
So both of the upcoming fights are going to be on the same card. It's going to be at the O2 Arena in Greenwich, London, United Kingdom. It's going to be transmitted via DAZN at 11 a.m. First fight, we have Israil Madrimov versus Michel Soro 2. It's just a super welterweight, 154-pound fight. We have Israil the Dream Madrimov, which he's ranked number 1 by the WBA and number 9 by the WBC. He is 8 victories, 0 losses with 6 KOs. His style is orthodox. He is 5'9" in height. He is 27 years of age, and he is from Khiva, Uzbekistan, but lives in Anido, California. He last fought Michel Soro, which he won by 9th round TKO back in December 2021, which is a 7 month layoff. Notable opponents, he doesn't have any at this moment. Next, we have Michel Soro, which is ranked number 2 with the WBA. He is 35. He's 35 victories, 3 losses, 1 draw, and 24 KOs. His style is orthodox. He is 5'11" in height, and he is 34 years of age. From Villeurbanne-Rhône, France. Born in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, it's in Italy. He last fought Israil Madrimov, which he lost by a 9th round TKO back in December 2021, which is a 7 month layoff. Notable opponents, we have Surbek by Sungurov, which he lost by unanimous decision back in May 2012, and Brian Castano, which he also lost by split decision back in July 2017. Whoa. Who do you got on this one, Copa?
Well, going back to their first fight, this is a rematch, guys, so they're going straight into the rematch. I think the reason they made this fight a rematch, this was another controversial fight. On paper it says Madrimov won by knockout, but a lot of people felt like that was a controversial knockout. They felt the referee ended it way too early, which if you look back at it, yeah, you can say it was ended early. Soro was definitely still in the fight. So I think that's why they're doing the rematch, because it was a close fight. It was a very close fight. I don't think Madrimov's camp thought that Soro was going to give him that tough of a fight. But hey, this goes to show Madrimov is kind of like the Taylor versus Catterall situation. He's willing to go back, run it back, and prove to the people and to himself that he can win, and this time he can win convincingly. So I believe in that as well. So I'm going to go Madrimov in the rematch.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing, and more because I'm going on the ranking here. He's number 1 WBA and number 9 WBC rank, so I'm going to go Madrimov as well.
And then Juan's pick was Madrimov as well, so we all agree on that fight as well. Uzbekistan has quite a bit of fighters coming on the up and up, man. You got Madrimov, and then the guy that just fought last weekend, Akhmadeliev, he's from Uzbekistan as well. There's some Uzbekistani fighters that are doing pretty good for themselves. And then off for the main event of that card, compa, that's going to be the co-main. The main event, pretty intriguing fight between two older heavyweights. You can say they're way past their prime, but entertaining fight nonetheless. They're titling the fight Total Carnage, and rightfully so, because these guys are going to go at it. And that fight's between Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev, the rematch. This is a heavyweight fight, like we said. You got Derek War Chisora, who's not ranked, like we said, guys. They are older. They're not ranked. This is more of a fan-friendly fight. He's got 32 victories and 12 defeats, compa. 32 victories, 12 defeats. Yeah, I said that, 12 defeats. You don't hear that often in boxing anymore. You'll hear the undefeated records, maybe guys with 1, 2, 3 losses. But this guy's 32 and 12, 23 knockouts. He's orthodox, 6'2", already 38 years old. He's from Finchley, London, United Kingdom. He was born in Mbare, Zimbabwe. His last fight was against Joseph Parker, which he lost by unanimous decision back in December of 2021. So he's making his debut this year. He's coming off a 7-month layoff. Chisora, what can you say about Chisora? He's always been a good fighter, but he always comes up short against the elite fighters because, like we said, look at his opponents list, compa. He's fought some of the best guys. He's fought Tyson Fury twice. He's fought Vitaly Klitschko. He's fought David Haye. He's fought Alexander Usyk. He's fought Joseph Parker twice. Yeah, he's lost to all of them, but he's fought the best of his era, man. And then you got Kubrat, the Cobra Pulev, who also is not ranked. He's got 29 victories, 2 defeats, 14 knockouts. Orthodox, 6'5", so he's got a 3-inch height advantage on Chisora, but he's 41 years old, so Chisora has the age advantage by 3 years. He's from Sofia, Bulgaria. His last fight was against Jerry Forrest for that Triller event that I went to, which he won by unanimous decision back in May of this year. So he's coming off a 2-month layoff, way more fresh. He's fought some big guys too. He's fought Vladimir Klitschko, Samuel Peter, and also Anthony Joshua. So both guys, like we said, fan-friendly fights. They both have been in there with some big-time names. Who you got, compa?
Oh man,
And
this
why?
one's tough, man. This one's tough.
This one's a good
I
one.
mean,
yeah.
I'm leaning more towards Pulev, but I'm looking at his age. Age is a factor, man. But he also has a height on this. He has less losses than Chisora, and he also has a good notable opponents.
I mean, Pulev is older, but look, his only 2 losses are against two goats of his time, in Klitschko and Joshua. So, but Chisora has been there with some of the best too. So maybe that experience has helped him for a guy like Pulev. Now let's not forget in the first fight, Pulev did win, but that first fight was years ago. I think they last fought, I want to say, back in 2014, 2015.
This is a tough one, Copa.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Pulev.
I'm gonna go Pulev as well, compa. I think we chose against him. We chose against him when he fought Jerry Forrest, and he proved us wrong.
Oh, I hope
Let's see
man.
if he proves us right this time. Kubrat Pulev, Chisora. I like Chisora. He's kind of crazy. They're both kind of crazy. I don't know if you remember, compa. Pulev was the guy that randomly grabbed the reporter and kissed her on
he
camera.
got I don't know if he got sued or something.
Yeah.
Just kissed her.
He just randomly grabbed her.
Yeah, I remember that.
Kissed her. And I got Pulev as well. I got Juan's pick. He said that he was going to go Pulev as well. So there we go. 3 for 3. 3 fights in a row that we picked the same fighter. But it looks like Chisora is the A side on this fight because his name is being said first, and also he's fighting in his home country. So Pulev's going to have he's going to be in enemy territory. But it's nothing he's not used to. I mean, he's always traveled around the world to fight. So, Pulev should. It's not going to be an easy fight, but he should be able to handle Chisora. Because if not, if Chisora loses, Chisora, I think for sure will call it quits after this. Or actually, either fighter, whoever loses this fight, they're going to retire.
Yeah,
these guys are 41 and 38.
Jeez.
So, so like we said, past their primes. Compa, you want to mention this next fight? That we got another 2 upcoming fights.
The next fight's on the same card at the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas, via Showtime at 6 p.m. First, we have Brandon Figueroa versus Carlos Castro, which is a featherweight bout at 126 pounds. Brandon, the Heartbreak Figueroa, which we also interviewed in our podcast in the past. You could check that out on our podcast platform. He is ranked number 1 by the WBC and number 1 by WBO, and ranked at super bantamweight. He comes to us with 22 victories, 1 loss, 1 draw, and has 17 knockouts. His style is orthodox. He is 5'8" in height. He is 25 years of age, from Velasco, Texas. He last fought Stephen Fulton, which he lost by majority decision back in November of 2021, which is an 8-month layoff. I can't believe it's been that long.
It seems
his
like
notable
just
opponent
yesterday.
Is Luis Neri, which he won by a 7-round KO back in May of 2021. And like we stated earlier, Stephen Fulton, which he lost. Next up, we have Carlos Castro. He is ranked number 4 by the WBC and number 10 by the WBO, ranked as super bantamweight. He has 27 victories, 1 loss, and 12 knockouts. His style is also orthodox. He is 5'7" in height, and he is 28 years of age. He is from Phoenix, Arizona, born in Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, Mexico. He last fought Luis Neri, which he lost by a split decision back in February 2022, which is a 5-month layoff. His notable opponents, Luis Neri again, which he lost, like I mentioned earlier. So this one, Copa, who do you have?
Well, we'll see how Brandon Figueroa is going to look in the new weight class. Because if you guys know, he was a former champ at 122 until he lost his title to Stephen Fulton, which many of us believed he won that fight. They ended up giving it to Fulton. Very good fight. I felt like there should have been a rematch, but like Figueroa said after that fight in the interview, he wanted to move up to 126. So we'll see how he's going to look in the new weight class. Yeah, because I think he's going to make a run to try to challenge for some titles there. Carlos Castro, they have one opponent in common, and that's Luis Neri. Figueroa knocked out Neri. Castro gave Neri a good fight, but literally the only difference in that fight was because Castro got knocked down once. Otherwise, it would have been a draw. That fight was a draw. But should be a good fight. This is no easy fight for Figueroa. It's a good comeback fight, but it's not an easy fight. It's going to be the co-main event. But I got Brandon Figueroa.
Yeah, same here.
I
I'm
got
going
the heartbreaker.
Figueroa.
And then I think Juan's pick was Figueroa as well. So yeah, and then guys, we got the main event of that fight card, which I think a lot of people are starting to hype this one of these fighters up. They're calling him the next Manny Pacquiao, and that's Mark Magsayo versus Ray Vargas. This is going to be our only even though we're covering 5 fights, this is going to be our only title fight of the weekend. This is going to be for the WBC World Featherweight title. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing, compa. That Figueroa versus Castro fight, that is a WBC featherweight title eliminator. So technically, the winner of that fight is supposed to take on the winner of this fight. So Mark Magsayo versus Ray Vargas, the winner of that will take on the winner of, is supposed to take on the winner of Figueroa versus Castro. So that's how quickly that Figueroa could get a title shot already. He can, if he takes care of business, he'll take on the winner of Magsayo and Vargas. So that's also a good fight for him. But anyways, going back to that fight, you got Mark Magnifico Magsayo, who is the current WBC World Featherweight Champion. He's got a record of 24-0, 16 KOs. He's orthodox. He's 5'6", 27 years old. He's from Rizal, Metro Manila, Philippines. He was born in Tagbilaran City, Bohol, Philippines. His last fight was against Gary Allen Russell Jr., which he won by majority decision back in January of this year. So he's coming off a 6-month layoff.
Yeah,
Man,
seriously.
that fight seemed like just yesterday, too, when he was fighting the one-handed Gary Russell. But he's got some notable opponents in Panya Uthuk, Gary Russell Jr., and now, of course, Ray Vargas, who Ray Vargas was a champion back in 2019 before he got stripped of his title for inactivity. Then you got Ray Vargas, who's ranked number 1 in the WBC. Yeah. He's 35-0, 22 KOs, also orthodox, 5'11", so he's got a 5-inch advantage on Magsayo. 31 years old, so he's 4 years older than Magsayo. He's from Otumba, Mexico, born in Mexico City, Distrito Federal, Mexico. His last fight was against Leonardo Baez, which he won by unanimous decision back in November of last year. So he's making his debut in 2022, coming off an 8-month layoff. He's fought top names like Alexander Munoz, Tomoki Kameda, and now, of course, the current champ, Mark Magsayo. Compa, this is a pretty good fight.
Man, this one, this is another good one. And I hate going against, our motherland, Mexico, but I'm going to go Magnifico Magsayo on this one. I think this guy, they're calling him the next Manny Pacquiao for a reason, and he's showing it. And I think he's going to take it. What about you, Copa?
Yeah. Compa, this is the first fight I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I'm going Ray Vargas. Yeah. I don't know. My gut's telling me Ray Vargas. It's not just because he's Mexicano, although we like to go for our fellow Mexicano. I don't know. He's been a champ before. It's not that he lost his title to another guy because this guy's undefeated. He lost it simply because he got stripped of it because he was inactive. I think he hadn't fought in 2 years. So he's back. He's undefeated. Yeah. He's got the height advantage on Magsayo. And based off Magsayo's last performance, compa, I mean, he couldn't even handle a one-handed Gary Russell all that well. He still struggled. He still edged out a win in a majority decision, and that's with him fighting a one-handed Russell. I think Ray Vargas, I think he had ever since this fight got announced, compa. Because there's some fights that when they get announced, I'm like, okay, I got this guy, then I'll switch. I'll know I got this guy. This fight, ever since it got announced, for some reason, I always went Ray Vargas. I'm like, Ray Vargas can win this fight. although of course the favorite is Magsayo, they're calling him the next Manny Pacquiao. He is the current champ, but I feel like Ray Vargas really can threaten his shot at being still the champion. So I think, and the new is going to be Ray Vargas. I spoke with Juan. He did say he's going to go Ray Vargas as well. So we'll see, man. I think this is going to be a good fight, but we'll see. Mark Magsayo can prove us wrong. It's crazy because he's the champion, yet this is still a 50-50 fight. He's the younger guy entering his prime, but we'll see. We'll see what Magsayo's made of, and we'll see what Vargas is made of, because this is barely his second fight back after, like we said, he hadn't fought, I think, and it was like 2 years or a year and a half. So this is barely his second fight back. He took a tune-up fight in Baez, and now this is his title shot. I mean, after his second fight back, he's already getting a title shot. So yeah. So pretty much, guys, we've agreed on all fights except for that one. We all chose for Kurbanov to beat Teixeira. We all chose Madrimov to beat Soro in the rematch. We all chose Pulev to beat Chisora in the rematch. We all chose our boy Figueroa to beat Castro. And then in the Magsayo Vargas fight, we got Ricky going for Magsayo, and then Juan and I going for Vargas. But yeah, guys, let's update our leaderboard real quick, and then we'll close this out. So, Rick, I did have to take one victory off each one of our leaderboard, only because if you remember, when we covered the Jose Cepeda, I think he fought Francisco Perez fight, he fought that guy in Mexico, and he won, but for some reason that win didn't count. I don't know if it wasn't sanctioned. I never really saw why, but they never counted it as a win. They took it off of his record. So because technically it don't count a win for him, it don't count a win for us, so I had to take a W off our record. And for those of you that don't know or are just tuning in, we keep this leaderboard like me and Ricky were just doing, previewing fights, who we go for. We tally that on our leaderboard. If we pick a fighter correct to win, that goes on our win column. If we pick incorrectly, that goes on our loss column. So thus far, we've previewed 59 fights. After this weekend, it'll be 64. And thus far, our leaderboard, we got Ricky in third place. He's got 39 victories, 20 defeats. Juan has 45 victories, 14 defeats. And then myself, 46 victories, 13 defeats. Edito, one of our fans, has joined our tally as of the beginning of last month in June. And thus far, in the 11 fights he's previewed, he's got 9 victories and 2 defeats. So, compa, I mean, we covered a lot of fights. Exciting weekend of boxing. The good thing is it's not too many networks. Really, we're only dealing with 2 networks, with DAZN and Showtime, because the Kurbanov to Sheriff fight, we're just going to have to catch on YouTube or something. But yeah, man, exciting. Anything you'd like to say before
Kiki said
we
earlier,
close
make
this
sure
thing
you
out?
follow us. Give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter. Check us out on YouTube. Interact with us. I think Kiki does a really good job interacting with all the listeners and Boxing Talk fans. And other than that, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, guys, if you guys are messaging us and you don't hear from us these next couple of days, for some reason our Instagram got blocked for a couple of days. I don't know.
What is Juancho searching?
I don't know why, but it got blocked.
I'm kidding.
I don't know, dude. But we got blocked for a couple of days, so sorry for those of you reaching out. I think we're blocked until the 11th of July. Trust me, we're disputing it because I really don't know why. But anyways, so we won't be able to respond till July 11th. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. This was episode 71.
Peace out.
We'll catch you later. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one.